So this general form would be clearer if we see the if keyword in action. Okay? And what we want to do is we want to write a Python program that takes the weight of an item as input. So obviously this is a number, right? Weight is a number. So this is a numeric. It can be either an integer or a float. Let's say it's an integer, okay? So it takes the weight of an item as input and prints the shipping cost, which is calculated as follows. So there are rules for calculating the shipping cost. So the base shipping cost is 50 cents for every pound, right? 50 cents for every pound. And there is an additional charge of or surcharge of $5 if the item weighs above 10 pounds. So the code has to make a decision, and the decision is, that's this if, right? The decision is based on that condition of whether or not the item weighs above 10 pounds. So if you had to write this English sentence into Python code, the condition would be, let's call it weight greater than 10. Okay, so if weight greater than 10, that's the condition, right? Then we add 5 pounds to the shipping cost, right? So how will the program look like? Looks something like this. Okay, so the first thing we do is we we say input enter weight in pounds. So this is where we ask the user to enter the weight in pounds. Okay, prompt, this is a prompt, right? This is a prompt. So the user enters, let's say 20. Now that 20 is converted to an integer because we want to calculate, right? We want to apply the mathematical operator, the arithmetic operators with this 20, because we want to do this multiplication and stuff, and this addition. But anyways, that's why we convert this to an integer. You could also convert this to a float. Doesn't change the outcome. Okay. So we do that and we save that value into a variable called weight. So weight equals int input, enter the weight in pounds. The user enters 20. So the weight now contains the value 20. Okay. Now the shipping cost is the weight times zero point 0.5, because it's 5 or 50 cents, which is half a dollar for every pound, right? So the shipping cost would be weight times zero point 0.5. Now is where we have to make the decision. The decision is, let's go back to the problem statement again. An additional charge of $5 is added to that shipping cost if the item is above 10 pounds of in weight. Okay, so the decision that the code has to make is whether or not I need to add that 5 pounds or not. Okay, so that decision is done using the if statement, and it's like this. By the way, we don't need this, we don't need the parentheses. Okay, it's redundant. But you can say if weight is greater than 10, then a colon, and then a tab. You see this space right here? This is mandatory. This is a must. You must have this. Okay? If the weight is greater than 10, then shipping equals shipping plus 5, which is add $5 to the shipping cost. Okay? And then finally, we print the shipping cost, which is the statement right here. The shipping cost is shipping. Now, if you had to draw the flow of this code, right? It would be something like this. So this, let's say this is line 1, line 2, right? Line 3, this is line 4, and this is line 5. Okay? So if you had to draw the flow of execution of this program, it would be something like this. So the first thing you do is you execute line 1. Okay, you take the weight from as input from the user, and then you execute line 2. Okay, and then you come to a point where you have to make a decision, and decisions are normally depicted by using these diamond shaped objects. Okay, so diamond shapes. So this is the decision that you have to make. 3. Okay, if weight is greater than 10, if the weight is greater than 10, if this decision yields a yes, or if this condition evaluates to a true, then you execute statement 4. Okay, Finally, you execute statement 5, okay? And from 4, you join this path before you do this, right? So if the condition at 3 evaluates to true or a yes, you go through 4. That's one extra step before you go to 5. If it's a no, or if this condition evaluates to false, you go from 1 to 3 directly to 5. You don't go through 4. Okay, so that's like a detour. Okay, so if the weight is less than 10, you you execute statement 1, 2, you check statement 3, right? And if the statement 3 evaluates to false, you go to statement 5 directly. So statement 5 would be executed no matter what. Okay, but this statement right here, statement 4, would be executed only if the weight is less than 10. So this is how we add an extra surcharge to the shipping cost if it's greater than 10. Okay? Okay. So let's write the code in Replit to make sure that it behaves as we expect it to. Okay? So we will start with the input statement, right? So we'll say weight equals int input. Okay? Enter the weight. So what does this do? This asks the user, or prompts the user to enter the weight, okay, and then it converts it to an integer, okay, and then that integer value, is saved or stored in that variable weight, okay. The next line is where we add where we calculate the base shipping cost. And what is the base shipping cost? So let's call it shipping, right? The best shipping cost is weight times zero point 0.5, right? Because it's half a dollar for every pound. Okay, so the weight is in pounds. It's weight times zero point 0.5. So that's our shipping cost. Okay. The next thing is the decision. Okay, the decision that we have to make based on that condition. And how do we make decisions? We say if, and then the condition. And what is the condition? The condition is that the weight is greater than 10. So that's the condition based on which we have to make the decision. And what is the decision? The decision is that we have to add 5 pounds to the shipping cost, to the base shipping price, right? Shipping cost. Now notice this. I have this if. When I hit enter, Replit would automatically add an indentation for me in the next line. Okay. So when I hit enter, see this? Replit automatically indents this for me. Okay. So what I want to do is, if weight is greater than 10, I want to add $5 to the shipping cost, right? So shipping plus equals 5. Do you remember this, folks? Do you remember this sign right here? This is the compound assignment, right? This means shipping equals shipping plus 5. Okay. So that's our shipping cost. In the next line, if you hit enter again, uh, Replit will keep you in that indented mode. Okay, so if you say print the shipping cost, the shipping cost is, sorry, is, what is the shipping cost? Shipping, right? If you say this, what happens is, because this line is also indented, it will only be printed if this condition is satisfied. Okay, but that's not what we want, right? We want this line, the one at line 5, to be printed regardless of this condition, right? That's how we want our code to act, right? So what you have to do is get rid of that indentation. Okay, so that's how it looks like. Okay, so when you run this program, okay, it says enter the weight. You hit, let's say, 10 and enter. It says the shipping cost is 5, obviously. Run it again. This time try 11. Okay, hit enter again. And now it says the shipping cost is 10.5, because it's 5.5 for the 11 pounds and a $5 surcharge that was added to the shipping cost. Okay. Now see what happens if this line, the last line, is indented. Okay, which is to say there is a tab before the last line. If you do this, something like this, okay, and if you run it again, see what happens. Enter the weight 11, the shipping cost is 10.5. That behaves as expected. But now, if we run it again and hit and enter 10 as the weight, see what happens. We enter 10 and nothing happens. Why? Why does nothing happen? It's because this condition is this condition is not satisfied. The weight is not greater than 10. It is equal to 10, but it is not greater than 10, right? So this condition is not satisfied. And because we added an indentation before the print, okay, the print is now part of this path. Okay, the print will only be printed, this statement will only be executed if this condition is satisfied. If this condition is satisfied, and because this condition is not satisfied, this won't be printed in when the weight is 10. Okay, so just keep this in mind. The indentation, just one tab right before your statement, can make a huge difference on your program. Okay, so this is incorrect. This is not what we want. What we want is this right here. Okay, so we want the statement at line 5 to be executed no matter what. Okay, and line 4 is sort of the detour. Okay, line 4 is the conditional the statement that we want to be executed if the condition at line 3 is satisfied. Okay, so that's our program that calculates the shipping cost using the rules mentioned above, mentioned in the slide. Okay,